the fact that we've been in a recession, there's talk that we're coming out of it. That's great. I hope that's the case. But we're certainly in an environment where there are fewer and fewer real opportunities to go after. So it makes it very competitive for organizations because there are finite opportunities and everybody is scratching for those finite opportunities. And at the same time, unfortunately, your target audience has changed the way they purchase products. It doesn't matter if it's a B2B space or a B2C space. They're more informed, and they're getting information online. They're getting information offline, in mobile, 24/7 access to information. And in social, they're getting information from their peers about products and services that they would consider or wouldn't consider. And so this has really thrown a wrench for marketers into the mix because the customer has tremendous influence these days. And I think the second element here is, we all feel it every day. We're accosted by marketing messages, and we've become largely complacent to messages that aren't personalized. And so if you just want to be another blue dot, you can do that by just delivering generic messages, and you will blend in with the rest of the market and become noise. If you want to rise to the surface and become a red dot, for example, then your customer experience must be relevant. And we always talk about relevance, and I'm going to put some context behind what that means, but it needs to be personalized. It needs to be timely so that it's at the right time you're delivering the right information. I think the customer experience needs to be positive these days. It's not just about a robot customer where the company is delivering a message and you will always deliver that message. It's not that anymore. It needs to be a human component because people are interacting with each other, and what we're seeing now is the businesses that excel in this environment are the ones that engage at a human level, that really dumb it down and say, look, we know you're a person and you're making a buying decision. We're going to help you at a human level and not just our generic messages. So I think what that means for marketers, especially in a distributed marketing environment, is it's not about interrupting people with marketing messages anymore. It's really about creating a conversation with them and engaging that target audience. And when I thought about this challenge of connectivity for the context of this deck, it's not just about what channels do you engage your audience in. I mean, that's a big decision, and it has to do with relevance. And is it email? Is it direct mail? What's the most appropriate channel? But it's also about how you engage your organization on the back end to deliver relevant messages across those channels, because you need to seed the creative process with the conversations that are happening so you can be relevant. I think the second major challenge that we need to talk about is the fragmented technology landscape. And, in the marketing technology space, particularly in the marketing technology space, it's kind of a Wild West, or it was for some time. We're starting to see consolidation. This is actually on the left a picture of a land grab from the Wild West days where you grabbed 4 flags, you rode your horse as far as you could in every direction, and you put your flags down, and that was your land. I think what we've seen from marketing is that low barriers to entry in this space, and frankly, it was by design. I mean, we needed companies who could be domain experts on web analytics because it was new and emerging. We needed the same thing in email. We needed the same thing across all these different areas. Unfortunately, what's happened is companies have adopted many different technologies, and obviously that's led to disparate data across the organization. Maybe it resides in different technologies. Now you're seeing a lot of initiatives in 2010, 2011 to centralize that data and start leveraging it. But I think the message I want to deliver here is maybe that's not the most appropriate way to structure the challenge of connectivity. And I'm actually noticing that some of the slides are a little bit blurry on the screen. So this is showing the top 2 most effective channels on the right side here. And Gleanster asked organizations, what are your top 2 most effective channels? They had 2 answer choices and gave them a big list of different marketing channels. And what you've consistently seen in most research, if you look out there, Gartner, Force, doesn't matter who, most organizations will recognize email, the website, direct mail, and telemarketing are kind of the top 4, where they're top 4 most profitable, top 4 most effective for organizations. But what I find interesting about this slide is you're seeing organizations across the board indicating that different channels are very effective for them. So, really the message to me here is there isn't really a one-size-fits-all, this is what you should do with your marketing channel to connect with your customers, because every target audience is different. So you really need to think about what is your organization good at and who is your target audience and what channels are most appropriate to deliver a conversation in and have a relationship with them. So I'm going to push a poll out right now. Let me get it ready here. And okay, so the question here is, how many channels does your company regularly utilize to have core expertise in best practices and have core expertise in best practices, execution, and measurement? In other words, how many channels are you really good at? Would you say your organization this is a primary channel for our organization? We do a really good job with it. Is it 1, 2? Is it 4, 5, or more? And go ahead and answer now. Give me a second. Is it able to capture? I don't know. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to move on. I'm not sure if it's capturing the results here. Yeah, it is. Okay, good. So what we're seeing is, of the people on the webinar today, most organizations are saying, 1 or 2 channels. We're really good at 1 or 2 channels. I'm glad the results are that, because here's what we see in the data. Essentially, let me push the slide. Okay, so when we asked the same question in a report in 2011, beginning of this year, actually the survey is still open from Gleanster, we segmented by top performers and everyone else. You see that top performing organizations, it's not like they're really good at 5 or 6 channels or all the channels they're operating in. They're saying, no, we're really good at 1 or 2 channels. We're really pretty good at email and direct mail, or we're really good at the website and something else. And when you look at all other organizations, this is very indicative of the responses we just saw in that poll. 1 channel, primarily very good at 1 channel. And so I think what this means is maybe the answer when we're talking about connectivity isn't that we need to go out and look for new channels to engage our audience because that's what makes us relevant. Perhaps we can get really good or better at the channels we're already good at. And I think there's an opportunity to do that within your organization, and that's what the focus of this webinar is going to be on, is how can you actually improve those 1 or 2 channels that you're really good at, because that's going to have the most immediate impact on revenue in the short term. That's something you can go back today to your organization and actually implement and not have to think about this in this huge, big, audacious goal of combining channels and delivering a cohesive customer experience across channels that you may not even have core expertise in.